guys, it's Sarah, and today we are going to do my TBR for Lalathon. Okay, Lalathon is a readathon that's being hosted this week, starting today, November 1st, and going through, I think, November 9th, from what I'm understanding. And this readathon is hosted by Books and Lala, who is my favorite booktuber. And it came about in a very strange way. And it's funny that it's even happening. So basically, she has been getting a lot of requests to do a readathon that focus on her favorite books and her rereading some of her favorite books, and then people reading the books along with her, or just reading some of the books from her list, basically. And she was kind of passing it off like, oh yeah, what. But people were literally like hounding her about it and like wanting this to happen. So she made a little bit of a promise on her Instagram stories that once she hit 50,000 subscribers, she would do a Lalathon, basically. And like they had already named it and everything. And then she hit 50,000 subscribers. So now she's doing it. And it's so funny that she is actually doing it. I definitely recommend you watching her announcement video because it's hilarious. She's so embarrassed by this whole thing because it's literally about her and her favorite books. But people want it. And you got to give people what they want sometimes, right? Even if you think it's ridiculous. So here's what she did. She posted some videos showing some of her all-time favorite books that she's given, 4, 4.5, 5 stars. And she takes them off herself. She shows you what they are, and kind of puts them in categories as far as genre goes as best she could. And there's also a big giveaway for some of those books too. So I will leave that video link down below. She also posted in October a favorite thrillers, some of her all-time favorite thrillers. So I'll link that one down below too. So what I decided to do for this readathon is I watched those videos. I wrote down every single book that she talked about that I personally own. I have it. It's either a physical book or a Kindle book or an audiobook. I have access to it immediately. And I pulled all those books from my shelves. And that's going to be not my TBR, because obviously I can't read all these books in 1 week, but that's going to be the stack I'm pulling from. And I'm just going to pull whatever I feel like reading. I'm going to try to get through 3 to 4 of them if I can. That would be amazing. I am also going to be reading Furyborn though. I need to get started on that. So that's my current read, and I'm going to be reading that throughout the week too, because I don't want to put that down to take a break. So along with Furyborn, I will be pulling some books off of my stack for this readathon. I'm not going to do a vlog style wrap up this time. I'm actually going to do a sit down wrap up like this, basically, when it's over, and let you know what I read. If you want to keep up real time with what I'm reading, definitely follow me on Goodreads. I have my Goodreads page linked down below, so you guys can follow me there. Send me a friend request. I always accept them. So yeah. All right. But I'm going to just show you the books that she talked about in her videos, and that will be my tentative TBR, and we'll see which ones end up getting read. Okay, so we will start with the physical books first, and then at the end, I will also share my Kindle books and audiobooks from her list that I own already. The first one is The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer. This is the first book in a trilogy, and I don't know what this is about officially. I know I've heard a lot of people talk about it, but I don't know what it's about. I want to say it's a girl, Mara Dyer, who gets into an accident and has trouble remembering anything. Maybe, possibly. Yeah, but I own it. The next one is The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. I've actually talked about this recently. It was in I think my October book haul revisit. And I said I was really ready to read this trilogy because I have all 3 books and I bought them all at the same time in order to binge read them. And they're still sitting on my shelves a year later, not read. But she did have the first one on her list. The next one is A Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray, another start to a trilogy. I think actually the first maybe 4 or 5 books on this list are all starts of a trilogy. So that's interesting. But this one, I think, is a historical fiction. And that's all I know. I don't know what this is about at all. I know I have all 3 books. Yep. And the next one is another start to a trilogy, and I think this is the last one on the list, but Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I have this one. I don't have the other 2 books, but it is a trilogy that I would like to read. And yep, so the first one's on there. And the next one is We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson. I've been wanting to read this one for a while. I believe this follows a young boy who basically gets into a situation where he's in charge of deciding the fate of the world. And there's also aliens. And I've heard it's weird, but really good. All right, this next one is a book that I bought because of Lala. I heard her talking about it on her channel, and she reviewed it, I believe, and she really enjoyed it. And that is First We Were Four by Alexandra Sirori. I believe this follows a group of girls who kind of have a secret club or like a society club, but that no one really knows about. And I believe a murder happens somehow and they get wrapped up in it, or one of them's responsible or something. I don't know. But it is a thriller. The next one is actually on my top 8 of 2018 list, which is Forbidden by Tabitha Suzuma. And I think this one's going to be a very high priority because it is one I plan to read before the end of the year anyway. And I am excited to read this one. This one is very controversial because it follows our two main characters who are brother and sister. They're also in love with each other, like an incest type thing happening. So I've heard amazing things about it, even though it's a very, very hard and taboo topic. And I think it's probably going to be sad, but I want to read it. She also had a classic on there, which was interesting, and that is Lord of the Flies by William Golding. And this is basically the ultimate survival story, I believe. It is kids on a deserted island and they have to survive, and it gets very violent and bloody. And I've heard amazing things about it, and I really want to read it. She also talked about some middle grade books, which I thought was very interesting. And the one that I have that she talked about is Wonder by R.J. Palacio. This follows a young boy who has a deformity in his face somehow. Something has happened on his face where he's deformed, and he is entering the public school system for the first time and kind of trying to navigate bullies and, you know, people who are making fun of him and stuff, and kind of find the people who are going to love him no matter what. And I've heard amazing things about it. Talked about 2 Donna Tartt books, and I have both of them. One is The Secret History, and the other one is The Goldfinch. Let's be real. I'm probably not going to read these during a readathon, but I have them, so I pulled them. They're on my stack. Another one that she had on there is The Dinner by Herman Koch, and this one follows literally a dinner. I think it's a family dinner. A family comes together, they have dinner, and lots of things are brought up and resolved, and that's all I really know about it. This is also a very polarizing book. A lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it, and it's kind of one way or the other. So very interesting. Oh, another one on that list, Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. This is the only Gillian Flynn book I have not read yet. And I'm scared to read it because once I do, I don't have any more to read by her. I believe she's currently writing one, but there's not even been an announcement on when it's supposed to be published. But I know she's currently writing something. She's been kind of like talking about it. But I don't know if I want to read this one until that one's like ready to come out. I don't know. There is one from my review pile stack, which is All These Beautiful Strangers by Elizabeth Klefoff. This was mentioned in her favorite thrillers of all time, which is really awesome because she's very, very picky about her thrillers. So for her to even mention something is a big deal for her. And I'm going to take that because I tend to have some of the same feelings as her on thrillers. Not every single thing. She has really disliked thrillers that I've really liked, but I could see why she disliked it. So it's just kind of one of those things. But yeah, so this is on my review pile stack, and now it's on the stack too. Another one that was on there is The Girl in 6E by A.R. Torrey. And yeah, I'm definitely interested in reading this one for sure. This is an erotic thriller, and it's about a cam girl who basically keeps herself secluded in her apartment because she has the urge to kill people, like serial killer style. So in order to avoid giving into those urges, she keeps herself inside her house. She does not leave her apartment. She has everything delivered to her, anything that she needs. She makes her money being a cam girl. And yeah, I've heard amazing things about this series, and I really would like to get started on it. And the last one that I have physically is Mudvayne by Taryn Fisher. Now, this is a shorter book for sure, and I believe this is an erotic thriller as well, but it's about a girl who is, I think, taken and held in captivity, but it's also supposed to be erotic, so that's interesting. I've also heard it's really messed up, which is my jam, so I'm kind of excited. There were also some books on that list that I have on my Kindle, so I will talk about those too. The first one is A Flame in the Mist by Renee Ahdieh, and this one I'm excited to read because I really, really liked her Wrath in the Dawn duology. I really, really enjoyed those two books, and I definitely want to read more from this author, so that's one I already have on my Kindle. Next one is Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. And this one follows a young girl, Eliza, who is the creator of a very popular webcomic. And it basically, her life online allows her to blossom and to have this big personality. But in real life, she's very reserved. She's very shy. She's not very popular. And no one knows that she is the one who created this web comic that everybody loves. Nobody knows what her real identity is in real life. And then a boy transfers to her school and makes her kind of question everything, and a whole bunch of stuff happens. I've heard amazing things about this book. I really have, from a lot of people who read a lot of different things. Basically everyone has loved it. So I have that on my Kindle. The next one is actually a pretty short book, and that's Bird Box by Josh Malerman. This is kind of a horror suspense novel from what I'm understanding, and I've heard it's really weird, but it follows a family and they live in this world where you cannot go outside because there's something outside that will kill you if you lay your eyes on it. So if you go outside, you have to be blindfolded so that you're not dead, basically. So I think it's supposed to be very, very, very suspenseful, and you never really fully see what this thing is or what it does or anything like that. I'm sure it's revealed somehow, but yeah, it's supposed to be very, very suspenseful. And they're actually making a movie out of this with Sandra Bullock in it. And I think they've already shot it. So very interesting. But yeah, that's on my Kindle too. And the last one that I have on my Kindle is The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. I have heard very, very good things about this book in particular. And I believe it is two people who meet on a plane. They're on a flight together. They end up talking about their relationships that they are in. And I think one of them kind of makes an offhanded comment about, it'd be kind of nice if someone just took them out for me. And then they build a plan to do that. And I've heard very, very, very good things about this book. And I have read Peter Swanson before, and I really enjoyed the book that I read from him. And so this one is kind of definitely the next one from him that I'd like to pick up because I've heard such great things. One book that I have on audio is A Million Junes by Emily Henry. And this one, I believe, is a young adult book, and it is a magical realism book, which isn't normally something I gravitate towards, but I want to give a few more a try before I completely just write off magical realism as a whole. I'm not ready to quite do that yet, but I've read a couple that I just kind of like, they were okay. So I want to find some really good ones. And this is one that I've heard is really good. It is on this list, and I already do have it in audio. And the last book on this list, I also have an audio, and that is Sadie by Courtney Summers. This one just came out, and I have heard amazing things about this book and really good things about the audiobook because I believe it's a full cast, and it does have a podcast element to it. And sometimes when the podcast element is there, it sounds like a podcast. So I think that's really interesting, and I am definitely interested to read it. But this is, I believe, a thriller or a mystery type of book, and I'm really interested in reading it. And I downloaded it on Scribd as soon as it came out because I've just heard amazing things about it. 22 books in this stack. 1 week, no problem, right? Okay, obviously I will not be reading all of these books, obviously. I will be picking some, whatever I feel like picking off of the pile. I'm going to have it sitting in my room, and I'm going to read one, and then I'm going to put it down, and then I'm going to read whatever I feel like reading next. I will tell you, I have a couple in mind that I think I'm going to start off with, and then after that we'll see. But I would like to try to get through at least 3 to 4 of these books, maybe 5 if I can squeeze that many in. If I pick some of the shorter ones or ones that I could probably get through pretty quickly, and we're going to see how it goes. All right, guys, that is going to be it for me today. If you have not checked out all of Lala's videos, again, they will be linked down below. I definitely encourage you to watch them. Even if you don't plan on participating, they're worth the watch. Just some of the books that she's talked about, I think, would be interesting, for anyone to watch, whether they do this or not. And let me know down below if I talked about any books that you think I should make a priority for this readathon. Again, this is only, I guess it's a 9-day readathon now that I think about it. I think it's from the 1st through the 9th. I believe those are the dates that she announced. And I have 9 dates, so I could maybe try to get 4 or 5 of these books read, I think, in that time frame there. And let me know if there's any I talked about that you think I should, move up on the list and maybe try to get read. And I will definitely take them into consideration. All right, I will talk to you guys again soon. I'm going to get reading. Have a great day. Bye.